The chair lays before the House a communication.
The Honorable, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Madam. Pursuant to the permission granted in Clause 2H of Rule 2 of the Rules of the U.S. House of Representatives, I have the honor to transmit a sealed envelope received from the White House on December 23, 2020 at 3:29 p.m., said to contain a message from the President returning, without his approval, H.R. 6395. With best wishes, I am, signed sincerely, Cheryl L. Johnson.
The clerk will report the veto message.
To the House of Representatives, I am returning, without my approval, H.R. 6395, the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2021, the Act. My administration recognizes the importance of the Act to our national security. Unfortunately, the Act fails to include critical national security measures, includes provisions that fail to respect our veterans and our military's history, and contradicts efforts by my administration to put America first in our national security and foreign policy actions. It is a gift to China and Russia. No one has worked harder or approved more money for the military than I have, over $2 trillion. During my 4 years, with the support of many others, we have almost entirely rebuilt the United States military, which was totally depleted when I took office. Your failure to terminate the very dangerous national security risk of Section 230 will make our intelligence virtually impossible to conduct without everyone knowing what we are doing at every step. The Act fails even to make any meaningful changes to Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, despite bipartisan calls for repealing that provision. Section 230 facilitates the spread of foreign disinformation online, which is a serious threat to our national security and election integrity. It must be repealed. Additionally, the Act includes language that would require the renaming of certain military installations. Over the course of United States history, these locations have taken on significance to the American story and those who have helped write it that far transcends their namesakes. My administration respects the legacy of the millions of American servicemen and women who have served with honor at these military bases and who, from these locations, who have fought, bled, and died for their country. From these facilities, we have won 2 world wars. I have been clear in my opposition to politically motivated attempts like this to wash away history and to dishonor the immense progress our country has fought for in realizing our founding principles. The Act also restricts the President's ability to preserve our nation's security by arbitrarily limiting the amount of military construction funds that can be used to respond to a national emergency. In a time when adversaries have the means to directly attack the homeland, the President must be able to safeguard the American people without having to wait for congressional authorization. The Act also contains an amendment that would slow down the rollout of nationwide 5G, especially in rural areas. Numerous provisions of the Act directly contradict my administration's foreign policy, particularly my efforts to bring our troops home. I oppose endless wars, as does the American public. Over bipartisan objections, however, this Act purports to restrict the President's ability to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, Germany, and South Korea. Not only is this bad policy, but it is unconstitutional. Article 2 of the Constitution makes the President the Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and vests in him the executive power. Therefore, the decision regarding how many troops to deploy and where, including in Afghanistan, Germany, and South Korea, rests with him. The Congress may not arrogate this authority to itself directly or indirectly as purported spending restrictions. For all of these reasons, I cannot support this bill. My administration has taken strong actions to help keep our nation safe and support our service members. I will not approve this bill, which would put the interests of the Washington, D.C. establishment over those of the American people. It is my duty to return H.R. 6395 to the House of Representatives without my approval. Signed, Donald J. Trump, the White House, December 23, 2020.
The objections of the President will be spread at large upon the Journal, and the veto message and bill will be printed as a House document. Pursuant to Section 4 of House Resolution 1271, further consideration of the veto message and the bill will be postponed until Monday, December 28, 2020. For what purpose does the gentleman from Maryland seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, on behalf of the Speaker of the House of Representatives and myself, and consistent with the request of the President of the United States, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Ways and Means and the Budget be discharged from further consideration of the bill H.R. 9047 and ask for its immediate consideration in the House.
Under guidelines consistently issued by successive speakers, as recorded in Section 956 of the House Rules and Manual, the chair is constrained not to entertain the request unless it has been cleared by the bipartisan floor and committee leaderships.
Parliamentary inquiry.
The gentleman will state his inquiry.
Can the Speaker inform us as to what that committee consists of?
Floor leadership in this context has been construed to apply only to the minority leader and not to the entire hierarchy of minority leadership, where the chair has been assured that the minority leader has no objection.
I thank the chair for the clarification. Yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you. For what purpose does the gentleman from Virginia rise?
Madam Speaker, on behalf of the minority leader of the House and on behalf of the wishes of the President, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Appropriations be discharged from further consideration of H.R. 9046 and ask for its immediate consideration in the House.
Under guidelines consistently issued by successive speakers, as recorded in Section 956 of the House Rules and Manual, the chair is constrained to not entertain the request unless it has been cleared by the bipartisan floor and committee leaderships. So we do not have unanimous consent. Is that it? Yep. Pursuant to Section 4B of the House Resolution 967, the House stands adjourned until 2 p.m. on Monday, December 28, 2020. Merry Christmas.
And that's the end of the pro forma session. Chad Pergram writing that it's the first major meeting of Congress on a Christmas Eve day. That was when Obamacare passed the first on Christmas Eve day back in 2009. The House is expected to take up this $2,000 stimulus bill again. That should take place during a regular debate and recorded vote. The House will return for legislative actions on Monday.